Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. Together with these great partners, we are able to bring you quality information to help you reach your whitetail habitat goals quicker but more proficiently. Northwoods Whitetails, Plot Doctor, Harper Growing Solutions, Scent Thief, Real Wood Productions, First Form Outdoors, Ace Hardware of Harrodsburg, Kentucky, Bass Pro and Cabelas. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's been a crazy roller coaster November here. As many of you probably know that follow the channel, was on quite a ride there with my target buck, and some ups and downs. Oh boy, what a story. I'll try to take a few minutes and do a story on him. I know there's been a lot of folks reaching out, kind of quizzing me on what the pieces were and how we put that all together. I surely do appreciate the messages and stuff on that, guys. It means a lot. Today what we're going to talk about is, it sounds simple, but I really feel like a lot of things are, right? But I really feel that this one is really, really overlooked. Guys, what I'm talking about is this time of the year, there's so much emphasis on the early season and the pre-rut and the rut, right, when it comes to whitetail hunting all over the country. But one of the biggest things that I find is when folks are tired, right, when we're hunters, and we're all guilty of it, when we're tired, we lose our focus on the end, right? And there's so much power, I think, going into this time of the year. Now maybe that's because where I'm from in Michigan, a lot of people not in the woods, and the muzzleloader season was always good, and the weather's horrible, and they go back to food, right? That's got something to do with it. But I think what a lot of it is folks just, I don't want to say that you give up, but you're so wore out, kind of like that old buck, right? At the end of the season, you drop a bunch of weight, and it's like I experienced in November. I mean, you're kind of just the grind, right? That rut grind that we talk about. But there's some simple things that you can do to be very successful this time of the year, and a couple things to be successful for next year. And yes, that's all done this year. So what I'm speaking of, guys, is this. So let's just start there. Right now, one of the biggest things that I see that folks need to be paying attention to is your food plots. Not planning your food plots, but looking at your food plots. This time of the year, do you have enough? Do you have enough of that food left over? If you don't have the food left over, whoever in the neighborhood has that food is going to have the does. Whoever has the does is going to have the power in the late tail end of the rut, and is going to experience the second rut. And yes, there is a second rut. So really be critical of yourself this time of the year. Probably more so now on your food plots than ever. Go and study that stuff and say, okay, listen, the drought really kicked my butt this year. What I planted didn't work. Maybe the manufacturer that you tried this year of the seeds, there's a lot of things. Maybe recommended the wrong stuff. Whatever that case is, right? But more importantly, point the finger at yourself. Don't just throw, fingers and curse words, if you will, right, at everybody else's fault. Look at you. Look at what you did, how you maintained it, what you did or didn't do, and the ground. Your ground. You own the dirt, right? If you own it, you control it. So big piece of the puzzle. I'm doing the same thing. Now the second thing is not ending your strategies, and this is probably the biggest thing to me, right? As I'm doing today, guys, I'm out on the farm 2 days after I harvested. There's 2 days left in our gun season, and midday here, and my water tanks are taking a beating, right? They went through the rut, the major portion of the rut. We're still in a rut down here, but major portion of the rut, and my water tanks are, my 300-gallon tank is holding its own. My 150-gallon tanks are needing water. Well, I could very well just say, I'm done hunting, and give up on it, right? where does that leave us short? Where it leaves us short is now is the time that you advance your deer to next year, right? If you're out of a tag like I am, your deer are still here. We have the responsibility as on the stewardship side of it, right, to still take care of them. We should be giving them water and making sure our food plots, or if you're in a state that can supplemental feed, you know, putting corn out there, making sure the feeders stay full. What you're also doing, guys, is you're also keeping or trying to keep through your management strategies. Maybe your management isn't the neighbor's management. And you know, more power to them. If they're happy, let them shoot what they want to. But if you can keep them and you can get them through a short window, like 2 weeks, right? Get through the gun season. Most of your folks, most of the hunters around the country give up. And if you're the guy, if you're the hunters, if you're the young lady watching this and you're not giving up, your next year's season will benefit numerous times, over and over and over. No matter where I'm at in the country or where my properties are, guys, that rings true for me because I'm focused more on the habitat side of it than I am the harvesting side of it. The harvesting will come if the habitat is created and maintained. But if you give up on it, you build the habitat, you don't focus on what you can do better for next year, your season ends, or your season is fill your tag, neighbors are still hunting, and you let all your 3.5, 4.5-year-old deer just find the does and find food, well, don't be mad if the neighbors shoot them, right? So big piece of the puzzle that I've tried to really focus on. Last year was easy for me because I was done 3 sits in September. So I had a lot of just kind of picking and choosing and making sure my plots and my feeders are full, my water tank stayed full. Well, this year I was hunting, so you can't just go in and do this stuff now. Now that I'm tagged out now, other than maybe a doe or two or something like that, I've got more time to do that, right? So whether that's water, food plot maintenance, strategies, keeping your feeders full, grind out until the end, like I said, guys, and that will greatly help your success for next year. You're not going to save them all, but you can save some of them, and you can do your part as a land steward. It's not just all about harvest, right? Think beyond the season, and that the whole community benefits from that, just not you, but the whole community. So think about it that way. And the last thing is this, guys. Now's the time to start looking at your numbers, right? Maybe that ties into the food plot part of it. Where are your deer numbers? Do you need a doe harvest here coming up? I recommend not shooting those does early. I recommend shooting the does and harvesting those and getting them numbers in check later in the year. The muzzleloader season is a great time to do that. Late bow season is a good time to do that because it's a different mindset, right? They're going back to early season patterns where the food, so you might lose them for a day, they're going to come back if your food is here, right? Now, the more pressure you apply, if you don't have the food, they are going on to the neighbors. They're so pressured right now that it doesn't take much to boot them off, but this time of the year when they're so run down, does and or bucks, they're so run down and the cold weather sets in, they're going to get themselves in trouble, right, with by their stomachs. So if you have bucks that need to be harvested, I hate the word call bucks because most folks don't, they kind of read into that, right? Or make their own strategy with that. A call buck should never be called unless he's 4.5 years old and doesn't meet your criteria. Well, I really recommend that you don't manage for 8 points and you try to change the genetics by shooting certain deer. You're not going to change the genetics by shooting deer in the wild, guys. It's not going to happen. A call buck is just something that doesn't, he's 4.5 years old, might be 100-inch 8 points, never going to be any bigger than that, or 100-inch 10 point. Or like I've got here on the farm this year, I've got a 4.5-year-old 6 point. He's been a 6 point from a 1.5-year-old buck. He's got 5.5, 6-inch bases. He's a 6 point. He needs to go, right? That's the time that you can reach out, find those local kids, find your own kids, find your local kids, find, have guests in camp. They're happy to help you harvest that stuff. They're happy to make the harvest. That's the time to start doing this, keep your farm in check, keep the deer in check, and it's all set up for next year. This time of the year, like I said, guys, I really believe that is when this time of the year is when next season is made, or you know, you can make or break next season, right? And it sounds, like I said when I started the video, guys, a lot of it sounds simple to us, but a lot of us overlook it. I'm just as guilty of that. I'm always looking for what I can do better next year, and these things that we just talked about today, guys, your food plot criteria, looking into that, you know, being critical of yourself. You can see my food plot in the back. I mean, this is the one that's as closest to the house as some of our test plots. I got 4 acres of corn in there. You know, all kinds of things that I'm researching, always writing stuff down, always looking at how I can make stuff better, what I'm going to do next year, if there's any stands that have to be tweaked. I've got a box blind that I'm adding on the farm for next year. All kinds of things involved, but I've also got a chore list. Some of that involves my water, looking at that food plots, making sure where I'm at the end of the year with my tonnage, what was left, what isn't, do I need more, do I need less, how many deer do I have, do I need to poke a hole in my doe numbers, and is there somebody around that needs a successful hunt that's maybe been struggling, or do you have bully bucks that need to be taken care of, right? So a lot of things that we can still focus on, but in closing, think about this. So much potential coming. You know, the post rut, the muzzleloader seasons across the country. If you guys are in the South watching this, my southern clients, you're just tapping into the rut, and your season's just amping up. So if you're watching this from down there, you know, fast forward this a little bit, watch this in a month from now. But a lot of the country is where I'm at right now. You've got a tag that's full. Kentucky's a 1 buck state, so now I go into maintenance mode, right? I'm not in there running a chainsaw yet, but boy, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, how I'm going to finish things. The farm here, 3 years into it, it's about 80%. So I'm on the road building a lot of other clients' properties, you know, designing properties, building properties, and one of those things, right? The contractor's driveway is always the roughest, or you know, if you're a home builder, your painting is never done, or your home maintenance is never done. I'm no different when it comes to land management, habitat stuff, guys. So, but I'm always thinking, I don't give up, right? It's a 365-day-a-year passion, and today, here's one of them: stewardship, making sure they got water, and it ties to some strategies I've got. I've got a couple bucks I'd really like to see make it through. Hopefully they do. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. But I'm not gonna be at the end of the season. I'm not gonna wish, hey, I wish I would have did this, I wish I'd have did that. And if I would have, maybe I could have advanced those on. So a lot of topics there, guys, but those are the ones that I focus on this time of the year.